Yo, what's happening, guys? Welcome back to the weekly review show where we obviously review the last week's football, what went down, and obviously go in detail a little bit about just obviously why it went down and obviously, what happened, go through the fixtures, go through talking points, etc, etc, and go through any shocks, any sort of kind of predicted, predictable results. Starting with, what better place to start is obviously Norwich against Manchester City, which, to be fair, I don't think anyone would have backed. Probably you might have got the odd Norwich fan, obviously, you back your team always, but no one would have expected Norwich to beat Manchester City. I know Norwich have played really good football of late, and obviously since that's what got them into the Premier League last year. They were playing some really good football, and yeah, that's obviously continued into the Premier League this season. Beating Manchester City 3-2, that's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, when I read that out, I think half of the people that I read it out to in the pub. We were in the pub at the time when all the results were sort of filtering through and obviously coming through and that. Just absolutely ridiculous. It was one of them, and probably out of the weekends, it was probably the first of three shock results by the scoreline as such, by how many goals there were involved. I'll get on to the other two in a sec. I think I predicted Manchester City to win 2-1 in the weekend show from last weekend, and I think that was probably a fair result, or a fair prediction, because I don't think anyone realistically would have put Norwich to beat Man City. And that's, again, no disrespect to Norwich. I know it sounds very harsh, but obviously it's no disrespect to Norwich at all. It's just the way football is, and the way City play. You just don't. I don't see them losing many points this year. With that being said, obviously we'll move on to what I thought was the definitely second shock of the weekend, which was Chelsea playing away at Wolves, beating them 5-2. I don't know what happened to Wolves. I don't actually, I really rate Wolves highly. I think that they're a very attacking, well balanced, solid side, and you could say the same for the teams that I've mentioned already. They're all well balanced, all very solid and very attacking, so perhaps it wasn't a shock. Perhaps these results aren't too much of a shock, and I'm just maybe blown out of proportion a little bit. But Chelsea winning 5-2 away at Wolves, that's incredible. It's incredible the result when it came in. Again, it kind of got the same, because of obviously we know what Chelsea's position is at the moment, and that they're not allowed to buy anyone, and whatever, and they've got to make use of what they have. And to be fair, what they do have in that squad are a load of really good, high quality, talented players, and it obviously proved, with Tammy Abraham getting a hat trick, and and the team are obviously starting to gel. This team are starting to play under Frank's sort of tutelage, and they're starting to buy into what he's trying to do, and obviously how he's trying to get them to play, and that's important obviously for them to be in the position that they are. It's obviously that's important for them to kick on and go forward and use that momentum to catapult and maybe kickstart their season going forward, and making that sort of line start going up, and I think that result was definitely the shock of the weekend, basically accompanied by the two I'm about, like the one I've mentioned and the two others. Obviously, next result I thought that was a shock, bearing in mind the scoreline, was Tottenham against Crystal Palace. Though you could say, oh well, Tottenham were at home, so it's obviously they're the home side, so you expect them to win their home games. Yeah, you would, obviously, and that's how. It's not necessarily how football goes, but that's just the kind of that's it in a nutshell. The home team you generally back as the favourites, which obviously, because they've got home advantage, they've got the home crowd, X, Y, Z, and it's all that kind of, etc, etc. I never expected them to win by the margin that they did, though. I expected them to win, but I never expected it. I expected it to be a more close game, more closely battled, closely fought, highly contested, obviously, but it didn't seem like it. I mean, 4-0, that's a thumping. 4-0 at any, any ground or in any league. Whether it's Sunday league, whatever standard of football, if you get beat 4-0, you don't deserve to win, and that's pretty much. I know I have to state the obvious like Michael Owen always does, but yeah, that's just basically how it is. To be fair, Manchester United and Leicester played out a 1-0 boring kind of sort of game. Could say that was a bit of a shock. I know, because obviously Leicester very well built, very solid attacking, and very well programmed, well put together with regards to both and all three aspects. Like they're playing, they're offensive, defensive, and just they're pressing. And that seems to be a theme, obviously, from the teams that are like adapting. That's the way they're going about things. That's the way they're going regarding how they're playing. Obviously, how they're setting up against certain teams, and it seems to work, because I mean, you see, as I mentioned, I mean, we see how we capitulated against Watford. They pressed us high up the pitch, and obviously, I think we did invite them on, but obviously, I'll get to that later on in the video. There was another 1-0 win for Southampton, which, I mean, playing away at Sheffield United, to be fair, good result. That will probably be one of those type of results that you would probably not take too much notice of now, but if you were a Southampton fan, but you would, later on in the season, they're the type of results that you look back on and obviously take, really, really be glad that you got the 3 points, more than anything. And I think that that will be definitely one of them. That will be a crucial 3 points. Perhaps not at this stage of the season, even though it is still early and it's hard to sort of base form, and because obviously teams are still kind of finding form, and they're still going, like not fluctuating, but they're like it's still, I don't know, I suppose they're just still trying to find form, and they're trying to keep that momentum that they're trying to build like at this early stage. Brighton and Burnley, they played out a 1-1 ball draw. Didn't really watch didn't watch it because I knew the scoreline, so I thought I'm not really going to pay too much attention to that. Both teams I've got a sort of soft spot for. Brighton and Burnley, both respectively, both well respected within the football communities, and well respected teams. They've got both great managers, great mindsets, great sort of great ethics as such. And the last one on Saturday, I believe it was the late kick-off, Liverpool beat Newcastle 3-1, and that was, I don't know, that wasn't a shock as much, to be fair. That was just you would have expected it, because Liverpool do look the team to beat. I know I said that last year, last week and last year even, but I said that last week that City were the team to beat. But obviously it's been proven City are human after all, and will it be proven that Liverpool are human after all? Who knows? I mean, they look the team to beat. I mean, they did get beat in the week against Napoli, but that can happen from time to time when you get sort of, perhaps not so much complacency, but you get, just a little bit sort of, it might be a bit of a, I know it's even at this early stage of the season, it might even be a little bit of a fatigue thing, so there could be a range of reasons why sometimes it's just a better team win, and obviously, they perhaps outclassed their opponents, but obviously that's may not have been the case in the game. I didn't actually get to see any of the highlights. But moving on to Sunday, we obviously had two games on Sunday. We had the early kick-off, which was Bournemouth and Everton, and to be fair, that went to, I think, not how, it didn't really go to plan, certainly not for Everton anyway, and it didn't really go with form either, because I thought Everton were the form side going into that game, and I thought they probably would have come away, they would have been the team that I would have betted on, hence the reason why I'm not a betting man, but they would have been the team I would have betted on regarding that game to get the 3 points, or perhaps come out with a draw. But obviously didn't come out with anything. They got beat 3-1, and to be quite honest, if you score 3 goals at home, you're the rightful winners, and Bournemouth did that, so they came out with all the 3 points. And again, like I mentioned with the Southampton Sheffield United game, or Sheffield United Southampton game, that could be a real crucial 3 points. You might not look at it at the moment as a crucial 3 points, but as the season goes on, those points that you get at the early stages of the season soon start to mount up, and I think that would be a result that they look back at and think perhaps it was only Everton, but they still beat them comprehensively. So it could be, you will look back at that, and obviously pundits will analyse that type of those type of games, and whatnot, when the battle for relegation, the bottom, bottom 3, really heats up. And moving on, basically the second to last game, actually, I believe, because I actually didn't mention, which apologies to Aston Villa fans and West Ham fans alike. Last week I actually didn't mention your game at all, because I wasn't sure if there was Monday Night Football or not. That's obviously solely on me, so I apologise. That's why I'm going to get to you shortly. I'm not going to go too far into this game. It's obviously the Watford Arsenal game. I won't go too far into it. Just know that it was unprofessional incompetence that lost us or not necessarily lost us the game, but lost us the lead, and we ended up just getting the point rather than the 3 points that we should have rightfully had, I think. I'm not going to say too much else, because obviously a lot of people have covered their own faults, and and the pundits have all analysed it and this and that, and I just hope, because Arsenal play today, preview to that game is out already, and yeah, that's on the channel, so go after this. This will be coming out basically after that video. Basically after the game's finished. But last but no means least, Aston Villa played West Ham, as mentioned just about 2 minutes ago, whatever. And they played out a board draw. I think they were held. One team, obviously, I think if I can't remember. Oh, come on. Yeah, so we've got Aston Villa were held by 10 men. West Ham, they had Masuaku sent off, and to be fair, anyone that goes down to 10 men, and if you're the home side and playing against 10 men, you should be looking to win the game no matter what. So that would be for Aston Villa probably 2 points dropped more than anything, a point gained as such. But again, these points could prove very, very vital, very, very crucial in the latter stages of the season as we progress through the season. These videos are still coming sporadically here and there. I'm going to try and get into more of a schedule of uploading them right after the weekend, so obviously it's all fresh in people's minds and everything, and whatever, you can come and hear my thoughts, leave your thoughts down in the comments, and yeah, your boys out here. I'll speak to you guys in a bit. Peace.